Ayan, ang Prime Minister,
so
oh.
I know that will be the way that New Zealanders are approaching COVID-19. As for us in the government, obviously we've been working through the night, through the weekend, through the last week, as you would expect, preparing the package that I'll be taking to Cabinet today and that we will be confirming tomorrow morning. And the focus of that package will be just the total response, but particularly I know people will be interested in what we're looking to do to try and cushion the blow that many businesses will be feeling.
Of course, they'll be feeling this blow stronger after the announcement on Saturday. And you obviously made this in the best interest of New Zealanders. What was it that changed, that made you make this tough and drastic decision?
I've been on a regular basis, daily, more than daily, looking at the international environment. I speak regularly to my Chief Science Advisor, and the wider Science Advisory network feeds into us their view on what's happening with international transmission, and also those countries who have been effective at managing transmission. And as I said on Saturday, we will
Economic
have more
package
cases in New Zealand. That is to be expected based on what we've seen globally, but what we're working hard to do is to mirror those countries who've managed to slow and flatten the curve of transmission. So rather than those countries that see those big spikes, which then makes it hard for the health system to cope, slow it down, smooth it out, and that way you can make sure that we've got people in the right place being treated with the right care as they need it. And so that, looking at all of that data and evidence, that is why it was an easy decision. We have to prioritise New Zealanders' health. If we do that successfully, we lessen the blow to our economy at the same time.
Now, you have required every person entering New Zealand to self-isolate for 14 days. At the moment, about 20,000 people arrive in the country daily. How are you going to ensure that they all follow the rules?
Well, actually, we've been doing this already for some parts of the world for roughly a month. So over 10,000 people
Kunin mo
have
dun
already
sa taas ng
successfully
restaurant.
self-isolated in New Zealand. So that's how many people have been coming back from areas where we've required them already. South Korea, Italy, China, those citizens who might have been returning from Iran. And so we've already had a system in place, and now we're applying it to everywhere with the exception of the Pacific Islands. So what that essentially means is at the border we are collecting
Isolate ka ng
their
14 days.
Healthline is
Was
following up on
New
all of
Zealand.
those individuals who we're requiring to self-isolate. They're checking in on needs, and they're also making sure that people understand what self-isolation means. It doesn't mean you have to stay in one room for 2 weeks. You can take a walk around the block, you can get some fresh air. You just have to essentially make sure you're not in close contacts with others, so really staying within your home and in the near vicinity.
Do we have the capacity to follow up on everybody who enters the country?
Well, we have done thus far, and we are looking into, I've been speaking with our officials over the last few weeks around scaling up our capacity, using call centre capacity across government. We obviously use quite a few call centres in order to undertake those checks. We'll also be putting in place greater enforcement, so spot checks on people who are meant to be self-isolating. But actually, as I said at the beginning, Hayley, we've already successfully had 10,000 people doing this. New Zealanders, they do act in the best interest of their community. And my message is, if you're one of those people self-isolating, it's not just about you and your health and well-being. It's if you carry COVID-19 and you pass it on to someone who is vulnerable, then that is where that risk really lies. And so we ask people to do this on behalf of their friends, their wider family and their community, and I think that's a call New Zealanders will hear.
Can we get some clarification about self-isolation? What happens when you're in a flattening situation and maybe someone's come in and they're isolating? What happens then?
Yep, very good question. In fact, the Ministry of Health has put together guidelines for people who might be at home with their family and only one of them is required to self-isolate, or they might be in a flatting environment. So they give basic tips on making sure that what you're doing is just trying to reduce down your close personal contact. So the public health, and this is a wider message I share with everyone, now's the time for us to start what they call social distancing. trying to keep enough space between you and others that if you're in conversation that you're basically unable to spit on one another, because that's when the way that the virus is able to infect others. It's basically through those droplets that come from us. And so practicing that within a home is basically what they advise. So washing your dishes separately, preparing your food separately, making sure that you're keeping different towels, just basic things. All of those guidelines are on the Ministry of Health website.
So obviously the priority is the health of the community, but there are also people very worried about the economic health of the country amidst this COVID-19. Brad Olson from Infometrics said that the government has to go huge on their stimulus package. He said the word huge, so how big is it going to be?
I've already said it will be significant. It will be a multi-billion-dollar package because it needs to be. This needs to be the package where we respond to the impacts on businesses. We've said that we want to make sure that those that are affected by COVID-19 have access to a wage subsidy. So that will be part of it, but it will be wider than that. I've said it will be one of the most significant packages I will work on as Prime Minister. And that's because I understand the significance of the moment that we're in. In Australia, they're describing it as a 1 in 100 year event. And so this has to be about helping those businesses and our economy ride through this very rough period that we are in, but that the world is in. Now, thankfully, New Zealand has been well positioned. We've come into this with very low debt. We've come into it with low unemployment. That means that we are well positioned to have to do what we need to do now in order to make sure that we keep the economy going.
The government has talked about a targeted stimulus package, but many commentators are saying we actually need a broader approach, that this won't just target certain sectors. What do you say to that?
When we say, I'll just clarify, we've said that we wanted a targeted wage subsidy. Basically what we're saying there is we want to just make sure that when we are supporting businesses, we are supporting those who are genuinely affected by COVID-19. I don't think anyone would argue with that.
That's absolutely true. There is a Reserve Bank announcement at 8 a.m, so that is in 11 minutes. Do you know what we can expect from that?
Look, it's very, very important that I keep that separation and allow the Reserve Bank to do what they're going to do at 8. But what I will say is that the government, through the Treasury, have been coordinating with across all parties our activities in this space.
We spoke to the tourism industry earlier in the show, and they were saying that the human impact on their tourism providers has been huge. Are we expecting any mental health services in the stimulus package?
Ay, Diyos ko, sana.
Well, of course,
we have
been very mindful as a government that mental health and wellbeing generally was an area we needed to invest in. We thankfully have already been rolling out frontline services for mental health. We have the telehealth service. I remind people 1737 is a free line that people can call at any time. I was reminded just with the 15th of March anniversary having passed that in the 3 weeks following that we had 13,000 people call that line and receive counselling and support. So that is available at all times. I encourage people to use it, but we are also very mindful that one of the ways we can make sure we support people's wellbeing is make sure that they have the financial support they need as well.
And finally, how has your day-to-day changed? We've heard that there are 3 MPs currently in self-isolation. Have you had to change how you do meetings? Obviously it's an election year, you're going to be meeting a lot of people throughout this year.
Yeah.
How has your behaviour changed?
Well, as has been commented on from time to time, I'm not someone that hesitates to shake a hand, or if someone needs, give a hug, and I get asked for those from time to time. And so these changes are ones I'm having to adopt too. What we need to make sure is that at this time, while we're in this situation, Social distancing is really important, so we're all going to have to stop the hugging, the handshaking, hongi, and just try
Stop
and
na
find other
talaga.
ways to acknowledge one another. So that's changed for me, and that's changed for everyone. Otherwise, at the moment, as you can imagine, I'm dedicating most of my time, whilst of course keeping everything else ticking over, to our COVID-19 health response and economic response.
Thank you so much for that. Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister, live from
Wala
Auckland
na.
Airport.
What is most important, of course, is your
Ayun
life.
na.
If you have any concerns, please call
Ayun na
me
mga
directly.
cards. Ang
I'm
news
right
now. Live na live.
0800
Galing sa Prime Minister.
0800
So ayun. Pero pala,
359
we'll continue to
The
pray
team here have information and health
about
advice
the
when you need it.
coronavirus na yan.
In 7 minutes to 8, making news this morning, we're expecting a surprise announcement from the Reserve Bank shortly with speculation it's an emergency interest rate cut. More on that at 8
Ayun na.
Also ahead, understanding the psychology
So that's the
of
news for
local
today,
isolation and
Monday,
taking care
mga
of
Kurdaps.
yourself in
Thank you
quarantine.
for watching this video. Take care and God bless everyone. Don't forget to pray all the time.